The stars looked different from the command deck of the Vex mothership. Commander Krell stood tall on his four hind legs, his front limbs crossed behind his back, as he studied the holographic map. His exoskeleton gleamed under the dim red lights, the natural armor that had served his species for countless generations. "Another system charted, Commander," said Officer Rax, approaching with a slight bow. His mandibles clicked with excitement. "The outer planets are barren, but the third world from the star shows signs of civilization." Krell's compound eyes narrowed. "Civilization? What species?" "Unknown. They call themselves humans, bipedal mammals, soft-skinned, no natural weapons." A ripple of amusement passed through Krell's body. The Vex had ruled the stars for over 5,000 years. Their evolution had been perfect. 6 limbs ending in cutting claws, armor plating that could withstand extreme temperatures and impacts, senses that could detect prey across vast distances. Their society was built on a simple truth. The universe divided all creatures into predators and prey. "Show me these humans," Krell ordered. The hologram shifted to display images captured by their long-range scanners. Small, pink creatures with only 2 arms and 2 legs. No claws to speak of. No armor. They looked almost like larvae, vulnerable and soft. "They've developed basic space travel," Rax continued. "They have colonies on their moon and the 4th planet. Their weapons are primitive. Their ships are slow." Krell circled the hologram. "Perfect. The hunting grounds near our homeworlds grow empty. Our young warriors need new challenges." He touched the image of Earth with 1 claw, but not too challenging. The Vex Council met that same day in the Great Hall. 12 of the most decorated hunters in their history, their bodies scarred from countless battles. Krell presented his findings about Earth and the humans. "I propose we classify their system as a Class 3 hunting ground," he said, "suitable for training our younger warriors with minimal risk." Elder Vix, the oldest female on the council and head of the science division, studied the human data carefully. "We should send scouts first. Study them more closely." "What is there to study?" asked another council member. "Look at them. No natural defenses. Their fastest ships would take years to reach even our outer territories." Vix's antennae twitched. "It is not their bodies that concern me. Their development pattern is unusual. They've advanced quickly for such physically limited creatures." Krell respected Vix. She had survived 300 hunts in her lifetime. But in this, he thought she was being overly cautious. All the more reason to move quickly, before they develop further. The council voted 11 to 1 in favor of declaring humans a hunting species. Only Vix voted against it. 3 days later, Krell watched as 20 scout ships prepared to depart. Their mission was simple: probe the humans' defenses, learn their weaknesses, and prepare for the first hunt. He had assigned his finest young officer, Rax, to lead the scouting mission. "Remember," Krell told Rax before departure, "prey behaves predictably. They will either hide or run. Learn which they prefer, and we will know how to hunt them." Rax placed his right claw over his chest in salute. "It will be done, Commander." As the scout ships vanished into the darkness of space, Krell felt a sense of anticipation. The Great Hunt was the center of Vex culture. It was how they trained their young, how they proved their worth, how they maintained their place at the top of the galactic order. These humans would make fine prey for the next generation of Vex warriors. What Krell couldn't know was that humans didn't follow the rules of prey. They never had. Captain Jack Miller wiped sweat from his brow as he studied the mining operation through the viewport of the Pioneer. His ship wasn't pretty, a patchwork of metal plates and exposed pipes, but she got the job done. The Pioneer had been harvesting ice from Saturn's rings for 3 years now, supplying water to the Mars colonies. "Captain, you should see this," called Ben, his communications officer. The young man's face looked pale in the blue glow of his screen. Jack moved across the bridge. "What is it?" "Something just entered the solar system. 7 objects moving fast. too fast for asteroids. On the screen, 7 points of light moved in perfect formation. Jack had spent 20 years in space. He'd seen comets, debris fields, and solar flares. This was none of those things. "Send a message to Earth Command," Jack ordered, "and get ready to move." Before they could act, Ben's console lit up. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's not in any language I recognize." Jack felt his heart beat faster. First contact. Every space captain dreamed of it, feared it, put it through the translator. After a minute of strange clicking sounds, the computer produced a message. "Unknown vessel. Identify your species and purpose." Jack took a deep breath. "This is Captain Jack Miller of the Earth ship Pioneer. We are humans engaged in peaceful mining operations. We welcome peaceful contact with other species." There was a long pause, then more clicking, which the translator converted. "We will board your vessel to assess your species. Prepare for our arrival." Ben looked at Jack with wide eyes. "Should we run?" Jack considered their options. The Pioneer was a mining vessel. Their only weapons were cutting lasers for ice harvesting. These visitors had crossed interstellar space. If they wanted to destroy the Pioneer, they could have done it already. "No," Jack decided. "We'll meet them. Alert the crew. No weapons. I want everyone calm." 2 hours later, a sleek black ship docked with the Pioneer. Jack waited at the airlock with 4 crew members. When the door slid open, they took an involuntary step back. The aliens stood nearly 7 feet tall on 4 legs. Their upper bodies split into 2 arms, ending in what looked like razor-sharp claws. Their faces were insectoid, with compound eyes that reflected the light in multiple colors. Their bodies were covered in what appeared to be natural armor plating. The lead alien stepped forward. "I am Scout Leader Rax of the Vex Dominion." The translator in Jack's ear converted the clicks and hisses into English. "You are the leader of these humans." Jack nodded. "Captain Jack Miller. Welcome aboard the Pioneer." Rax's head tilted to one side. His mandibles clicked together in what might have been confusion. "You do not fear us." Jack smiled. "We're curious, mostly. Humans have wondered about other intelligent life for centuries." "Show us your vessel," Rax demanded. Jack led the Vex visitors through the Pioneer. He showed them the mining equipment, the crew quarters, even the small weapons bay with their defense lasers. The aliens seemed particularly interested in the crew, watching how they worked together. "Your species is physically weak," Rax observed. "How do you defend yourselves?" Jack laughed. "We adapt. What we lack in natural strength, we make up for in tools and cooperation." In the mess hall, Jack invited the aliens to sit. They seemed uncomfortable with the casual invitation, but eventually settled onto reinforced chairs. "Why are you here, Scout Leader Rax?" Jack asked directly. Rax's compound eyes seemed to darken. "We explore. We catalog new species." Jack nodded but didn't believe the answer. Something about these aliens reminded him of predators. He'd grown up in Montana, had seen how wolves sized up prey. "Well, we hope this is the beginning of friendship between our peoples," Jack said, extending his hand as a gesture of goodwill. Rax stared at the offered hand but didn't move to take it. "We will report our findings to our command. You will be contacted again." After the Vex departed, Ben approached Jack on the bridge. "What do you think they really wanted?" Jack watched the alien ship accelerate away faster than anything he'd ever seen. "I think they were hunting, Ben. And I'm not sure they know what they just found." The Vex attack came without warning. 50 warships appeared near Mars, their black hulls gleaming in the red planet's light. Governor Anna Thompson watched from the colony command center as the first missiles struck the outer dome. "Evacuation status?" she asked, her voice steady despite the fear gripping her chest. 60% complete, replied her second-in-command, Mark. "We need another 30 minutes to get everyone to the shelters." Anna nodded. "Then we'll give them 30 minutes. She turned to the defense team. All volunteers to stations. We hold until the civilians are safe. On the main screen, she could see the Vex ships landing. Ramps extended and hundreds of the insectoid aliens poured out, their armor reflecting the emergency lights. They moved with frightening speed, 6 limbs working in perfect coordination. They expected us to run, Anna said quietly. They didn't expect us to fight. The Mars colony wasn't built for war. It was a research station, a place where scientists studied how to grow food in Martian soil. But humans had always prepared for the worst. Each colonist trained in basic defense. Each section had weapons lockers. Anna had been a soldier before becoming governor. She knew how to organize a last stand. The aliens reached the main airlock. Anna watched on camera as they cut through the reinforced door with energy weapons. She pressed a button on her console. This is Governor Thompson to all Mars colonists. We are under attack by an alien force. This is not a drill. Proceed to emergency shelters immediately. Defense teams, engage according to Protocol 7. Protocol 7 was simple. Delay the enemy at all costs. The first Vex warriors burst through the airlock. They met a wall of laser fire from the human defenders. Several aliens fell, but more pushed forward, using the bodies of the fallen as shields. Their claws tore through the barricades. But every second they fought was another second for civilians to reach safety. Anna joined the front line, rifle in hand. Fall back to checkpoint 2. She ordered as the Vex numbers overwhelmed the first defense point. In space above Mars, the battle went differently. The Earth fleet had responded to the distress call, but they were outnumbered. Captain Jack Miller brought the Pioneer into the fight, along with 6 other mining ships hastily converted for battle. We can't match their firepower, Jack told his crew. But we don't need to. We just need to be smarter. The Pioneer's main cutting laser, designed to slice through Saturn's ice, now carved into the hull of a Vex warship. The aliens didn't expect mining equipment to be weaponized. They didn't understand that humans could turn anything into a weapon when needed. Jack directed his small fleet into the asteroid belt. The Vex ships followed, confident in their superior technology. But they didn't know these rocks like the mining crews did. 3 Vex ships crashed into hidden asteroids. 2 more were caught in a trap of mining explosives Jack had quickly deployed. Back on Mars, Anna Thompson led the remaining defenders to their final position outside the shelter entrance. 80% of the colonists were now safe underground, but the Vex forces kept coming. We need 10 more minutes, Mark said through the comm. Anna looked at her team. 20 people with light weapons against an army of aliens built for war. We'll give them 10 minutes. The Vex commander approached, taller than the others. His armor was decorated with symbols of rank. The alien spoke, his words translated through a captured device. You fight well for prey, he said. But this is pointless. Anna raised her weapon. We're not prey. The final assault began. Humans fighting with everything they had. Not just guns, but tools, furniture, even bare hands. Every Vex that fell bought seconds for the evacuation. In orbit, Jack Miller's makeshift fleet had destroyed 7 enemy vessels. The Vex began to retreat, confused by their losses. They had expected easy hunting. Instead, they found humans, creatures who turned mining ships into warships, who converted research tools into weapons, who fought with savage determination despite their physical weakness. They're pulling back, Ben reported from the Pioneer scanner station. Jack nodded grimly. They'll be back. And next time, they'll know what they're facing. He opened a channel to Mars. Governor Thompson, status. After a moment of static, Anna's tired voice came through. Evacuation complete. We've lost the colony, but our people are safe. She paused. They thought we'd be easy targets, Captain. Their mistake, Jack replied. Humans have never been easy targets, and we never will be. Scientist Vix moved carefully through the captured human facility on Mars. The other Vex warriors kept their distance from her. She was not a warrior but a scholar, and on a Vex ship that made her strange. Commander Krell had ordered her to study these humans, to understand how they had managed to inflict such damage on superior Vex forces. "You requested these." A young warrior dropped a box of items at her feet. Vix nodded. "Human artifacts." "Thank you." The warrior left quickly. Vix opened the box and began sorting through the contents. Books, data tablets, clothing, pictures. Items the humans had left behind in their hasty retreat. Each piece told a story about these strange creatures. She activated a data tablet. It contained thousands of human knowledge files. Vix had learned their main language quickly. She began to read about human history, absorbing information at a rapid pace. What she found disturbed her deeply. Humans had nearly destroyed themselves many times, with weapons, with disease, with their own technology. But each time they came close to extinction, they emerged stronger. They didn't just survive. They transformed. In her quarters later that night, Vix prepared her report for Commander Krell. She organized her findings into categories, hoping the war leader would understand the danger they faced. "Enter," she called when her door chimed. Commander Krell ducked his large frame through the doorway. His armor still showed damage from the battle on Mars. "Your message said this was urgent, Scientist Vix." "It is, Commander." She motioned to the screens covering her walls. Each showed different aspects of human development. Their weapons, their societies, their rapid technological growth. "We have made a serious error in classification." Krell's mandibles clicked in irritation. "The humans are weak. They got lucky in the first encounter." "No," Vix said firmly. "I studied 12,000 years of their history in just these few days. They are not weak. They are something we have never encountered before." She brought up an image of human evolution. "Look at their past. They have no natural weapons, yet they became the dominant species on their planet. They have no armor, yet they spread to environments that should have killed them." "What is your point, scientist?" "My point, Commander, is that these humans don't fit our understanding of predator and prey. They are something else entirely." Vix touched her screen, showing footage from the Mars battle. "They lost that colony, but look how they fought. They turned mining tools into weapons, research equipment into defenses. They adapted in hours to our tactics." Krell stared at the screens. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting we need a new category for humans. They are not predators in our sense. They are not prey. They are," Vix paused, searching for the right word, "adapters. They transform. Every challenge makes them stronger." The commander turned away. "The High Council has already approved a full invasion fleet. 500 ships. The human system will be ours within one cycle." "That would be a mistake." Vix moved to stand in front of Krell. It was a bold move for a scientist to block a war leader's path. "Commander, I study the records of every species we've hunted. All followed patterns. They either fought with their natural strengths or fled using their natural defenses. Humans do neither. They change the rules." "Enough." Krell's voice rose. "You forget yourself, scientist. The Council has decided. Prepare your final report on human weaknesses for the invasion force. That is all." After Krell left, Vix returned to her screens. She knew she was right. Something about these humans frightened her in a way no species had before. Not because they were strong. The Vex had defeated stronger races. Not because they were clever. The Vex had outsmarted cleverer species. What frightened her was their unpredictability, their endless capacity to change. She pulled up footage of a human child playing with building blocks. The child built a tower, knocked it down, then built something completely different with the same blocks. That was humanity in a simple image, always rebuilding, always reimagining, never accepting limitations. Vix began typing a new report, one not meant for Krell or the High Council. This one was for the historical archives. She titled it, "Humans, the Species That Rewrites Rules." Her opening line read, "They don't just survive. They transform survival itself." Admiral Tom Wilson stood before the holographic display in Earth's unified command center. Around him, representatives from every major nation watched as he outlined his plan. The room was tense. 3 weeks had passed since the attack on Mars. Intelligence suggested the Vex were preparing a much larger force. "We can't wait for them to come back," Tom said, pointing to the projected enemy movements. "We need to take the fight to them now, while they still think we're weak." President Garcia shook her head. "Admiral, their technology is superior. Our fleet is tiny compared to what they can field. How can we possibly attack them?" Tom smiled. "Because they expect us to defend, not attack. And because we've been busy." He nodded to his assistant, who brought up images of Earth's orbital shipyards. Every mining vessel, every science ship, even luxury space liners. We've converted them all. We don't have warships, so we made them. On the screens, hundreds of modified vessels moved in formation. They didn't look like military ships. They were odd shapes. Makeshift weapons bolted to hulls never designed for combat. But there were many of them. "We also have this," Tom continued, bringing up schematics of a device. "Our scientists reverse-engineered parts from the Vex ships we destroyed. This disrupts their communications. They won't be able to coordinate." The Chinese general leaned forward. "How long did this technology take to develop?" 2 weeks, Tom answered. Murmurs spread through the room. Such adaptation should have taken years. 3 days later, the human fleet departed Earth. Captain Jack Miller, now commanding a squadron of converted mining ships, led the first wave. The Pioneer had been rebuilt with stronger armor and better weapons, but it was still recognizably a mining vessel. Jack addressed his pilots. "Remember the plan. We're not trying to outfight them. We're trying to outthink them." The human fleet didn't head directly for Vex territory. Instead, they targeted supply depots, communication relays, and lightly defended outposts. They struck quickly, then vanished before the main Vex forces could respond. They used asteroid fields and gas clouds to hide, environments the Vex considered too dangerous to enter. On the 3rd day, Jack's squadron ambushed a Vex patrol near Jupiter. The aliens fought with precision and power, but the humans used the planet's radiation belts to their advantage. The radiation interfered with Vex sensors, but the humans had quickly developed shields against it. "They fight like they have a rulebook," Jack told his crew after the battle. "We fight like there are no rules." Meanwhile, Governor Anna Thompson led a special forces team on a different mission. Her target was a Vex communications hub they had discovered. Her ship was small, designed to avoid detection. Her team consisted of scientists, engineers, and a few soldiers. "We're not here to destroy it," she told them as they approached the station. "We're here to use it." The Vex had never encountered an enemy that prioritized stealing technology over destroying it. Their security focused on preventing bombardment, not infiltration. Anna's team slipped aboard the station through a maintenance port. Inside, they found the Vex data systems. The aliens' computers were advanced, but human hackers had been preparing for this moment. They had studied the fragments of technology from Mars and developed programs specifically to breach Vex security. "We're in," whispered Tina, their lead hacker, "downloading their communications data now." Across the system, Admiral Wilson coordinated the scattered human forces. Earth's ships were not fighting like a traditional fleet. They operated in small groups, striking unexpectedly, using tactics no military would consider logical. They weaponized science vessels to create gravity wells. They used medical scanners to detect weaknesses in Vex ship designs. They sacrificed unmanned cargo vessels as distractions. In his command room on the Vex mothership, Commander Krell received increasingly desperate reports. The humans were not behaving like prey. They weren't even behaving like predators. They were fighting like nothing the Vex had ever encountered. "They have no pattern," one of his officers complained. "Their ships appear where they shouldn't be able to go. They use weapons that shouldn't work." Krell stared at the tactical display. 15 Vex warships had been destroyed. dozens more damaged, and the human fleet kept growing, as if they were building new ships during the battle itself. For the first time in his long life, Krell felt something unfamiliar. It wasn't fear exactly. It was doubt. The battle for Proxima Station would decide everything. Both sides knew it. The massive Vex outpost hung in space like a black star, its weapons ready to receive the human fleet. Commander Krell had gathered his remaining forces here, believing the humans would have to attack head-on. No prey species could resist such a trap. But humans were not prey. Governor Anna Thompson stood on the bridge of her small stealth ship, the Shadow. Around her, 20 of Earth's best scientists, engineers, and soldiers prepared for their mission. They had been in Vex space for 6 days, moving carefully to avoid detection. "The main fleet will arrive in 3 hours," Anna said, checking her instruments. "We need to be inside before then." Her second-in-command, Mark, looked nervous. "The station's defenses are incredible. How do we get past them?" Anna smiled and held up a small device. "With this." The device was based on Vex technology they had stolen from the communications hub. It broadcast Vex identification codes. To the station's sensors, they would appear to be a supply ship. "We don't fight on their terms," Anna reminded her team. "We change the terms." The Shadow approached Proxima Station. Anna sent the identification codes. There was a tense moment of silence. "We're cleared to dock," the pilot announced. Bay 12. Inside the station, the small human team moved quickly. They wore armor modeled after Vex exoskeletons, another innovation developed in just weeks. It wouldn't fool a Vex up close, but from a distance, the disguise worked. "Section B, Level 3, Anna directed. "That's where the control hub is." Meanwhile, the main human fleet approached Proxima Station. In the lead ship, Admiral Tom Wilson watched the massive structure grow larger on his view screen. Captain Jack Miller's squadron of mining ships flanked his vessel. "Admiral, Vex forces are moving to intercept," reported his tactical officer. "They've arranged their ships in a classic pincer formation." Tom nodded. "As we expected. Signal Captain Miller. Execute Operation Chaos." Jack received the order and smiled. "All mining ships, activate the disruptors." The modified mining vessels activated devices that sent pulses of energy through space. These weren't weapons, they were tools repurposed from asteroid mining. The pulses disrupted the fine crystalline structures in Vex ship armor, making it brittle. On his flagship, Commander Krell watched in confusion as his forward ships began reporting hull failures. "What weapons are they using?" he demanded. "Unknown, Commander," replied his officer. "Our sensors detect no conventional weapons fire." Krell slammed his claw down. "Impossible. Adjust formation. Close the distance." That was exactly what the humans wanted. As the Vex ships closed in, Admiral Wilson gave his next order: "Release the nano-swarms." Thousands of tiny robots, originally designed for medical procedures, poured out from human ships. They attached to Vex vessels and began dismantling them molecule by molecule. The Vex had no defense against such tiny attackers. Inside Proxima Station, Anna's team reached the control hub. Vex officers turned in surprise as humans burst into the room. The battle was brief. The Vex fought with natural skill, but the humans had studied their weaknesses. "Controls secured," Anna reported to Admiral Wilson. "We're in." She plugged a human device into the Vex systems. The station's weapons went dead. Its shields dropped. Commander Krell received the report with disbelief. "Proxima Station has fallen. How is this possible?" He stared at his tactical display, watching his carefully planned defense crumble. Scientist Vix entered the command center. She had been monitoring the battle, and now she approached Krell with newfound confidence. "They did exactly what I predicted, Commander. They found a way we didn't expect." Krell turned to her, his mandibles clicking in agitation. "How do they keep doing this? We are stronger. We are more advanced." but they are more adaptable. Vix said quietly. Look at their weapons. Just days ago, they were mining tools, medical devices, scientific instruments. They turned them all into ways to fight us. On the screen, they watched as human ships swarmed Proxima Station. Not military vessels, but converted civilian craft. Not trained warriors, but scientists and engineers who had become soldiers overnight. Krell felt something he had never experienced in his long life: respect for prey. But no, these humans weren't prey. They were something else entirely. Send the signal, he ordered. All ships withdraw. His officers looked shocked. The Vex had never retreated from a hunt. Commander? One questioned. Krell's compound eyes fixed on the screen, watching as human ingenuity undid centuries of Vex military doctrine. We cannot win this battle, he said simply. Not like this. Not against them. The meeting took place on a small, uninhabited moon in neutral space. A single human ship approached from one direction, a Vex vessel from the other. Both sides had agreed to bring only 3 representatives. Admiral Tom Wilson led the human delegation. With him came Captain Jack Miller and Governor Anna Thompson. They stood in their formal uniforms, waiting as the airlock cycled open. Commander Krell ducked his tall frame through the doorway. Behind him came a younger officer and scientist Vix. The humans tried not to show their tension. This was the first peaceful meeting between their species. Admiral Wilson, Krell said, his translator converting the clicks and hisses to English. We meet at last. Tom stepped forward, keeping his hands visible. Commander Krell, thank you for agreeing to this discussion. The room had been prepared with seats designed for both species. The 2 groups sat across from each other. For a moment, there was silence as predator and prey. No, as 2 intelligent species, regarded each other. Your tactics at Proxima Station were unexpected, Krell began. No species has ever defeated us in open combat. We didn't want this war, Anna said. You attacked us first. Krell's mandibles clicked. Yes. A mistake. We categorized you incorrectly. Vix moved forward. For thousands of years, my people have classified all species as either predator or prey. You are neither. You changed our understanding. Jack smiled slightly. Humans have always been good at breaking rules. Why did you request this meeting, Commander? Tom asked directly. Krell's compound eyes shifted between the humans. To offer terms, we will withdraw from your system. We will establish boundaries. There will be no more hunting. The humans exchanged glances. This was a better outcome than they had hoped for, but Tom saw something more. We appreciate your offer, he said carefully, but I think we can do better than just avoiding each other. Krell tilted his head. What do you propose? An alliance, exchange of knowledge and technology, cooperation. The Vex officer behind Krell made a sharp sound of disbelief, but Krell silenced him with a gesture. You would trust us. After we tried to hunt your people. Anna leaned forward. That's what humans do, Commander. We adapt. We evolve. We forgive when it makes us stronger. Vix nodded with what seemed like approval. As I told you, Commander, they transform survival itself. The negotiations lasted 3 days. There were difficult moments, old suspicions, cultural misunderstandings, but both sides learned from each other. The humans discovered that Vex society had been shaped by millennia of being apex predators. They had never needed to cooperate with other species. The Vex learned that human adaptability came from their history of facing challenges they couldn't overcome alone. 1 year later, on the bridge of the newly christened Starship Evolution, Captain Jack Miller stood beside scientist Vix. The vessel was a marvel of both human and Vex technology. Its crew consisted of members from both species. The Outer Rim exploration mission is ready to launch, Captain, reported Ben, now his first officer. Jack nodded. Thank you, Ben. He turned to Vix. Ready for another adventure. The Vex scientist's mandibles clicked in what Jack had learned was amusement. Always, Captain. On a view screen, Admiral Wilson and Commander Krell gave a joint address to their peoples. The alliance had grown stronger over the months. Trade routes had been established. Cultural exchanges had begun. Joint scientific expeditions were exploring the galaxy. A young Vex officer approached Vix on the bridge. "Teacher, I have a question." "Yes, student." "Why did we abandon the Great Hunt? It was our way for thousands of years." Vix considered her answer carefully. Behind her, human crew members worked alongside Vex officers. Technology from both worlds operated in harmony. "Because the humans taught us something important," she said finally. "True survival isn't about being the strongest predator or the most elusive prey. It's about becoming something new when the universe demands it." She gestured around the bridge. "Look at us now. We are neither hunters nor hunted. We are partners. Explorers. We have transformed." As the evolution left orbit, Jack looked out at the stars. They seemed different now, not hunting grounds, not territories to defend, but mysteries to solve together. "Vix," he said quietly, "I think this is the beginning of something remarkable." The Vex scientist stood beside him, her alien eyes seeing the same possibilities in the darkness between stars. "Yes," she agreed. "Remarkable indeed." She paused. "Is that not what both our species always wanted? Not just to survive, but to become more than we were." The ship accelerated into the unknown, carrying with it a new definition of survival, one written together by two species who had once been enemies.